And welcome in, welcome in. It is Breakdown 502. Raashaan Myers live on a nice little, it was a nice little day outside. So a warm Wednesday, kind of winterish, springish evening here in the Ville. Joined as always by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. H to the Izzo, Haven Harrington. Haven, how are you doing, brother?
Man, what's going on? Rocky. Oh, hold up. Is that the man himself? The myth, the legend?
The man with the plan,
Roman
Roman Kelly,
Kelly?
joining as well. Roman Kelly, how you doing?
Doing well. What's going on, fellas? How are you?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. You know what I'm saying? It was nice outside. I got to get out and get my little walk in today. Got a little workout in. Roman, I heard that you've been in the gym, getting it in. How's the knee doing, brother?
It's doing well. It's doing well. Getting back to doing some layups, jumping off my right leg again. It
Uh-oh.
feels good. It's there. It's the left leg is like the strongest it's ever been in my life, and my right leg feels like am not going to be attacking with the left hand very much, or I'm going to be looking like Michael, jumping off the opposite foot with the wrong hand. You know what I mean? But
Roman, did you ever watch? Did you ever watch Teen Titans Go? Did you ever watch it
I
back in the
did.
day?
I
The
did.
Teen Titans Go. There was an episode where Robin was that they did like the Voltron, where all of them had a different piece of the robot, and Robin had the left leg, so he made his left leg like super strong. So
What you know about Teen Titans Go?
hey, my son used to make me watch that all the time, man. So
I was gonna
yeah,
Those
say
are
that's
classics.
more my time right there.
so yeah, I just you talking about that left leg? That's hilarious because that just reminds me of Teen Titans
Left
Go.
leg's real strong, which at the end of the day, that's more important, right? If if you're going with as a right-handed player, if I drive to the basket, but
Hmm.
I'm not gonna be in the fast breaks. We're not gonna be running on the fast break anymore. We're gonna wait till we're, in great shape, the best shape of my life before we start doing that kind of stuff again. I'm gonna
That's
There
take
you go.
it slow, take it easy.
There you
that's
go.
what I'm talking about. Spoken like a true Ali Khalifa fan.
Hey, you gotta let me know where you hooping at though, Rome. I need to get out there and run with you a little
I need
bit.
to get with you at the wide. Those runs down on that small
Yeah,
court.
you know.
I need that
I,
half
I
court
I'm
size,
gonna hit you up.
that
I'm
full
gonna hit
court
you up.
that's the size of a half court. That's what I need right there.
100%. 100%. We're gonna do that. But of course, fellas, y'all know we are here. We are talking all things Louisville basketball. I've been listening to everybody whine, bitch, moan, and complain for the last 2 days about everything that we saw on Monday night. So, I've let everybody cleanse the palate and everybody to, get their thoughts out. I have not heard everything. I've heard a little bit of Roman because of running with Roman and the Mike Brothers for sure. I've heard a little bit of what Roman's had to say. I have not heard anything that Haven Harrington has to say at all. And I'm sure that that's quite hilarious. But I just want to know before we get into the nuts and bolts, are you all feeling after everything that happened on Monday? How are you feeling? Better, worse, the same? Like, has anything about your opinions changed? Your outlook? Like, just in general, how are you all feeling?
In the
Go
immortal
ahead, Haven.
words of Dennis Green, the famous coach of your Minnesota Vikings, they are who we thought they are. Or in this case, they are who they thought we were. They were. I mean, the book has been out on these dudes since like last year. You get what you get. You know what's going to happen. If
Yeah.
you're a quad 1A school, we can't beat you. Everybody else, we got you. It's
So you were not surprised with what happened on Monday night?
no, it was expected. They haven't beaten a quality team on the road all year. Why start now? I mean, even UNC without the best player, they kept it close.
Yeah, yeah.
But the end of but it was a foregone conclusion. There's a couple of stats about this team that just actually about Coach Kelsey that just holds so firm. It's just unreal. One, he who leads, it's almost like a Bible verse, right? He who leads to the 5 minute mark shall winneth thy game. Right? It's like First
Yeah,
Kelsey, verse 2, chapter 1, right? It was like right there. He
yeah, ain't
who
no comeback.
leadeth at the 5 minutes marketh winneth. It's like clockwork.
Yeah,
If you are an elite team, we ain't beating you.
I mean that's fair. That's
I
fair. Roman,
mean,
how about you?
I mean, no, I so I guess in a way I got to where Haven's at to an extent way earlier in the season.
Yeah.
I saw the defensive lapses early on. I knew what it was going to take for this team to play at a high level, and we never consistently saw that. We'd only get it for a half of a game, for the first 10 minutes of a game, and then really, I feel like at the beginning of the season we had the fast starts, and then once we got into actually facing good teams, it was the opposite. It was these slow starts. We don't know what we're doing until the last 15 minutes of the game when it's already too late, and we're having to battle back. And we've
Hmm.
now established that Michael Brown needs to attack the basket this and the third. You go through your injuries, and I mean, this team had to re-gel. It had to relearn how to play with each other because it was already not fully figured out by the time Michael went down. They didn't have everything adjusted. Yeah, Ryan had some good games. Yes, Michael had some good games. Yes, the Kentucky game was a great outing out there. They still hadn't put together a complete game yet. You look at the Kentucky game, we were up 18 in the first half. What's the score at halftime? We were up 5 at 7.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
believe,
Yeah.
like they come all the way back. We go up again in the second half. They come back again, right? Yes, we make it look a little bit prettier there at the end, but we've played close games. Even our blowouts outside of NC State, there was games where that moments where it was close outside of the bye game. So this team has been an up and down team all season long, is what I'm getting at with that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's been both ends of the floor. We expected this team to be a high-powered, high-level offense that predicated itself on its guard play and was able to be versatile due to the different skill sets it had out on the wing and the bigs and whatnot. We didn't really get that, right? We don't get that against the teams that are bigger than us, more athletic than us. It's get down, get smacked in the face, then it's the Ryan and Michael show for them to figure it out for us. And if they don't start figuring it out, no one's going to figure it out. And when you have a team that's going through struggles like that, you can't really put an expectation on them because you've seen them score 106 points. You see them put points up on good teams. You also see them lose to good teams. It's almost like how you feel about Louisville football to a degree. I don't want to raise my expectation due to what I've seen from the floor. However, when you have a roster like this, the ceiling, I'm going to continue to say it's through the roof. The roof is it's limitless, right? Michael Brown Jr. Haven is a game changer by himself at the
You
point
know,
guard spot.
no, there's a definite cap on the limit that this team has. This team is nowhere near limitless. The
I I think
coaching,
I
the
think the
coaching will
offense
not
is
let this
limitless.
team be limitless.
I think
Pat
the
Kelsey
offense.
is not going to let this team be limitless. This team
Okay,
is
I
limited.
agree. I agree with that. I think that the coaching staff and some of the ways that they go about allowing the personnel to play alongside each other, some of the rotations, some of the patterns with the rotation and when those
You know what?
rotations change.
It's
I
not
get
even
it.
rotation. It's not even rotation. It's not who's playing with who. What's limiting this team is Pat Kelsey's refusal, his complete refusal to change his scheme and ideology.
He's
That
changed
is the
it.
cap on his team.
He's
That and the
changed it.
fact,
And they
no,
didn't
no,
improve.
no, no. That and the fact, and I can't prove it because I don't go to practices. I haven't been to practice, but I can almost guarantee you, in the mortal words of The Rock and Stone Cold, I can guarantee you that he does not have one coach on his staff that knows how to coach bigs.
All right.
There's
So
not one coach on this staff that knows how to coach big men. Not one.
put a pin in that because we're gonna come right back to that the
Or
conversation about the big.
or anybody can
Yes,
shoot a damn mid-range jump shot.
that's fair as well. But look,
That's the staff. That's on the
so
staff.
That's
so,
all
so
the
this
staff. That's Pat Kelsey. He started this whole season. This whole season was all about shooting threes, getting layups, and having your bigs get rebounds and putbacks. That's his offense. Period. End of story. That's it. And he hasn't changed at all. Regardless of any evidence he's seen to the contrary, that shit don't work against elite teams. He hasn't changed nothing. He has the roster. I believe he has the roster in place to challenge any team we play against. Sananda Fru could be a great post player. He has nobody to show him how to score with his back to the rim. He gets the ball in the block and has no freaking clue what to do. None. None. Javon Hadley knows what to do. He's just too small. He tries to back dudes down. He's like fucking what, 6'5", 6'4", gonna get like 6'8", 6'9". He ain't backing nobody down. No. It's not a fruit could back people down. He has no clue. He turns his back. You can see him all. He turns his back to the goal, starts dribbling, loses the ball. No idea what to do. Wiz Khalifa, Ali Khalifa. The man is wide open by himself, could take 2 steps and dunk, and travels every time.
Now, so
But
look, so
go,
so look,
go ahead, Raashaan.
I agree, and you all are absolutely rolling down the road that we want to discuss. But I will say this: as far as my initial question of have my opinions changed? No. I coming into the North Carolina game, I said it after the Duke game that I thought that Louisville was going to have a great shot to go 10 out of 11 to end the regular season, even with losing on the road by 30 to Duke. And I said the one game that I knew that they were going to lose was North Carolina. That was the game that I chalked up as a loss from the beginning. Now, with Caleb Wilson being out, did that at least give open the door a little bit more for Louisville to get that win? Yes. But even with that, you still had Henry Visar. You still had, super athletic wings in Seth Trimble, and Stevenson. So knowing that that was the type of team that Louisville struggled with, I still knew it was going to be a heavy lift for Louisville to go down there to Chapel Hill and get that done. So no, it really honestly did not change my opinion at all about this team, about their ceiling, about what they can do. Just as positive or, pseudo positive as I was after the big win against NC State, none of that's changed. I feel like Louisville definitely has a type of team that they're not going to beat. And the unfortunate thing, like Haven alluded to, it's not necessarily because of the roster. It's not necessarily because of not having the Jimmies and the Joes. It's more scheme related, and I think that that's where the big kind of question mark comes in at, right? Is you know I'll say this is that after the North Carolina game, my disappointment in Coach Kelsey has grown a lot. And it's my disappointment. I say my disappointment because he's a very smart coach and he's a guy who knows basketball and has been around basketball. And after the blowout loss to Duke, I thought that after a 30-point beatdown, you have to at least humble yourself and say, you know what? This is not going to work. We got to change something. And the fact that he still has kind of just dug in and just refused to change anything and refused to acknowledge any sort of that this ain't working, that really disappoints me. And I think it leads down two paths, right? Like I think that schematically, like Haven was talking about, yes, I think a part of it is scheme because he's not like I keep hearing people say that we don't have any big guys and our big guys can't do anything and they can't.
We have big guys.
I personally think that we're not putting our big men in a position to score. All we're doing is putting our big men at the top of the 3-point line and having them do screen handoffs. And you're having them roll down the lane like they're super athletic like James Scott, but that's not really what they do. Now with Ali Khalifa, that's the only place that Ali Khalifa is effective is standing out at the top and basically doing screens and throwing passes because he's not going to roll. He's not explosive. He's just that's not what he's going to do. But Sananda Frew, um, Case and Pryor, Kenai Roos, all those guys, as well as Javon Hadley, all those guys can work on the block and do a little something. The problem is Louisville never throws the ball to the block at all. They don't run any actions to get the ball inside. They don't look to throw the ball inside. It's just it disappoints me, Roman,
And
that
if you look,
Coach
Rashawn,
Kelsey has not done anything to change any of that.
specific to that point, because I want you to keep going. There's a couple other things I feel like that we can emphasize as well. But specific
Yeah,
to the bigs and not getting that chance, you don't want to clog up the paint. You don't want to put anybody in way of your slashers. Okay, cool. You have not presented a lob threat with any action that you create from your sets.
yeah,
That being the case, if your big isn't screening for you on the ball or directly a part of an action to screen off of the ball, and you're not going to go to the block, put them in the dunker spot, 2 feet diagonal to the block, out of the way. With Michael Brown's ability to get by his man and all the way to the basket, the big has to step up. And guess who's sitting right there ready for a little dump off pass that is Fru's already shown it. He's not some crazy dunker. He's a finesse finisher. He's a soft finisher around the rim.
This
Get him
whole
in
team is
spots.
soft finishers. That's the problem.
But
Well,
then,
Rome,
but utilize that though. You've
but
got to
Mike,
utilize that.
But the main issue is, and like you saw it against North Carolina, right? They even stopped guarding any bigs outside. They like
literally, like,
they
and you
cleared out. Was
can't
like,
do that.
do what you're
You
gonna
can't
do.
do that. You can't
I
do
mean,
that. You can't have your big men at the 3-point line looking to do these screen handoffs, and their man is playing 7 feet off of them into the middle of the lane.
And
If
and
the
that's
point
what's
guard's
barely do
going
happening,
back
anything.
and forth. The point guard's going back and forth, east and west, out on the perimeter.
yeah,
If you're going to be doing that and the bigs aren't going to step, the point guard has to dive to the basket.
yeah.
But the other problem is, even when our guards do dive outside of McHale, they're not looking to finish.
Well,
And
Ryan
that's the other
Conwell gets
problem.
his shot blocked every
They're
time
looking to
he
get
crosses
fouled.
the lane.
Yeah,
I mean,
Ryan
they're
can't
looking to get
finish.
fouled. Like, they're not looking to finish.
Well, see,
They're
that's the
looking to
problem. Is
get fouled and shoot free throws, which makes them easy to defend.
Michael's the only slasher on the team. Okay, and this goes back to the second point, Roman, is that. And I thought about this today. I was getting out. I told everybody, that I got out on my walk. And as I was on my walk, walking through beautiful Shawnee Park, and listening to the birds singing, and just the cars driving by, everybody's happy because it's nice outside. And I had a thought that popped up in my head, and I was like, I'm gonna ask Haven and Roman this because it came to me like a revelation about why this team has been so ineffective and so inconsistent this year. Think about this, fellas. How many players on this team this year are playing their natural position in basketball that they've played their entire life?
2.
Two.
One, maybe two.
Well, three if you count Sananda Fru,
Yeah,
because
but the
he's a
role, what
five.
you're asking him to do in his
But
role is
what you
not what he's
and
ever.
that's the other part of it is that yes, Sananda, and that was going to be exactly what I was going to say was Sananda Fru's playing his natural position, but you're absolutely asking him to do something that he's not comfortable doing or effective doing. But yes, this is the problem. Coach Kelsey failed miserably with putting this roster together in terms of it's not about lack of talent, but one of the biggest problems is you want to know why your buddy, Roman's favorite dude, Adrian Woolley, is
Oh God.
struggling this year. Goes from a kid that was averaging 18 and 7 rebounds, and for 4 assists or whatever he
They
was
got him
averaging.
off the ball. They got him in the corner.
Well, no, the thing is, the problem is this: instead of letting Adrian play the two and just coming in as that Ryan Conwell and doing exactly what Ryan Conwell does, they're asking him to play point guard half the time he's out there. Adrian Willie's not a point guard. So, like, instead of him just getting in the game and thinking, okay, I'm just in here to get buckets, I'm going to get in here, get the ball, I'm going to be aggressive going to the rim, I'm going to be looking for my shot, I'm going to be trying to
No,
dunk on people. They want him dribbling the ball, go into the paint, but look and see who you can find. Look and see who you can pass the ball to. Don't go aggressively looking to score. Like
and then
Adrian
as soon
Willie,
as he passes it away, he's out of the play. He's completely out
absolutely
of the
out of the
play.
play. He like the fact that they've taken all his aggressiveness away drives me insane. But you look at Woolley, you look at Isaac McNeely out of position. The young man has played two guard his whole career. He comes here, you try to just shove him in at the wing, at the three spot. Terrible season. His shooting percentages are down. His averages are down. He's struggling mightily. He's still a very good shooter, so his 3-point percentage has been okay, but struggling to do anything.
And
Like the problem is you recruited 3 shooting guards for one position, and you just thought that, well, we can just throw them in at the wing and they'll be fine.
what
Or
and to
I know we
compound
don't
that
have a point
problem,
guard, so we'll just let Adrian Woolley be the backup point guard at times. He's not a point guard. It was
That
just bad.
worked when Michael was out because he was a score first point guard.
Yes.
Now he comes in playing this backup point guard role, and there's nothing for him to do out there.
Yeah,
the other thing is
because
like
he's
to
also playing with
compound that
Khalifa.
problem.
He's
yeah,
playing with Khalifa so much as well. Like you can't
Well,
do
like I
that.
said, the other thing is that really compounds that problem.
yeah,
Like it wouldn't be bad if he still played point guard, even though he's not a point guard. What makes it worse is that the system, the scheme that they're running, Pat Kelsey disregards the midi, as he likes to say, the mid-range game. And because his offense completely disregards the mid-range game, and I believe Pat Kelsey actively coaches against guys taking mid-range jump shots, you're taking Isaacs and Willie's like half their offense. If you watched them play at their former schools, half their offense was mid-range game. You're literally taking half the 3/4 offense away and forcing them to shoot threes,
yeah.
which is not what they do. So you're taking half the offense away, and it's just killing them.
It's
Like
it's
you're
just
still
very it's
scoring
just very
points.
disappointing because, like,
Yeah.
to me, Roman and Haven, like, Coach Kelsey has not done anything to help his players get comfortable. How many guys on this team look comfortable with anything they're doing? I mean,
Javon
think
Hadley
about it.
hasn't been playing this position for he hadn't played this position since he was out in Colorado.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just
Payson
and that,
Pryor doesn't have a position.
like, to me, like, look, I'm gonna tell you where Case and Pryor could have been utilized in the game against North Carolina. In my personal opinion,
Did he play?
If Ali Khalifa, yeah, he played like 2 minutes. If Ali Khalifa, it was not a game for Ali Khalifa against North Carolina. And Louisville just kept trying to roll him out there and roll him out there and use him. He's slow. He can't get back. He can't move his feet, and he can't do anything offensively because everybody's basically sitting on the back door and he's not hitting shots. So he's completely ineffective out there. So to me, you put Case and Pryor in there at the 5. That way, you have a guy who can get the ball, he can handle it, he's quick, he's going to be aggressive going to the basket, he's still a threat as a shooter, he's at least multi-dimensional. Ali Khalifa literally can only throw passes out there, and
He doesn't
that's
even
my
screen well.
that's my point. Roman is like, why is it that, to me, I don't know why this is, but I don't understand why our coaching staff has been so reticent to try anything different. And I want to ask you guys that. That was the other question: is what do you think? Like, because I've asked, is he stubborn? Is he not as smart as I think he is? What are you guys' opinions about why we're not seeing more radical adjustments and changes?
It makes me. I would pay money to visit practice for that question right there because I think there's two things happening here with that. With why, I think one, it's working on the fucking starting unit at practice somehow, some way, and two, because it works and you can pinpoint in this possession against Cal, Kobe Rogers threw this assist in this set to Ali Khalifa under the basket right here. We've seen it. We've been able to pinpoint it. They go back and allow its success in any way, shape, or form
Right.
to mean that it's possible at any point going forward, right? And a
It's
lot of the
so,
shit
so,
that a
so
lot
what
of the
you're
stuff
basically
based
saying
on
is,
those.
after seeing Javon Hadley get just destroyed at Arkansas, you come back and say, okay, well, Hadley played well against undersized Indiana, so that's proof it works.
Yeah.
So we don't need to make a move.
No, because we don't see Arkansas every night. If we get into the groove and we get into the working of it and we get better at it, it should all work out and pan out by the time we do see those kinds of opponents again. No, like you just mentioned, I thought so. That's a great point. I didn't think about the out of position thing because I've been chalking a lot of these roster issues up to a false sense of versatility. And
Yeah.
it's a bunch of gadget players. I've been calling them gadget players. And I think more so is the versatility
Everybody's out
that
of
these
position.
that's what it is. Everybody's got a gadget that's just not being used correctly. They're not even being asked to go about using that correctly, right? When
Yeah.
Adrian Woolley and Kobe Rogers are in the game together, Peyton Siva should be the one standing up on the hash on the floor directing them what to do, right? Those are your two most athletic guards. There should be a
Hey,
full
Roman,
court
let
press
me tell you
just
something.
for when they're in the game. There's
In my
nothing like
personal
that
opinion,
until February. We don't see that.
if Louisville, and I'm not saying that he should not be starting, but I'm saying that if let's just say Ryan Conwell moved to the bench and you had Adrian Woolley in there at the 2, I think that Adrian Woolley could give you almost the same stats that Ryan Conwell's giving you if you told him to just go in there as the 2 guard and look to get buckets. And that was his only job, was to go out there, be aggressive, and look to get buckets. I think
And
he could produce almost just as well if that was all he was asked to do.
No,
I mean,
no,
I think he'd average more assists, and his field goal
no,
percentage will be better. I think he's
Why
better
you
no,
with
say
his
no,
right.
Haven?
no,
Why you
Well,
say no?
he's
no,
saying no. He's saying no because there's no way. There's not even another realm where Ryan Conwell's going to the bench and Pat Kelsey's
no.
sitting
That's
Well,
not
there.
no,
it.
no, no.
No, I'm not saying
Why
that. If Willie started, no, it would not be any better.
It would.
It would not be any
I
better.
know it
He
would
would
not
not
be
be better
better.
than Ryan Conwell.
He's not saying it would be better. He's saying that it would be that Willie
I
could
said
produce the same things that Ryan's
all they
producing.
asked him to do was to go out there and score the basketball and be aggressive.
No,
I think he
no,
would be fine.
I
no.
I
think
You know
think
Woolie's
why?
is.
No. You know why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because as soon as Willie started pulling up and doing mid-range jump shots, they were yanking.
well, no, they're shooting now. I will say this: they've started to actually add a little bit of the mid-range game over the
Dude, it's
last
freaking
last.
almost March, and they're just not at
I,
the mid-range game.
I'm not disagreeing, and this is and that was the thing is like while Coach Kelsey has not made the big sweeping changes that he needs to make, he's tried to do all these kind of surface change
He's just
adjustments.
playing around the
You
edges.
know,
He's just
he's
playing
playing
around the
around
edges.
edges. You know, he lets Michael shoot a pull up mid range every once in a while. He lets Conwell shoot a pull up mid range every once in a
But
while.
that's but that's the
He's
problem. It's
playing
just
the big man lineup off the bench more. You know, like
but
he's
it's
doing
just
little
he's
things
just playing
instead
on the
of
edges.
starting with the damn big lineup, letting those guys be out there. At this point, does anybody disagree that the best starting lineup is Michael Brown, Ryan Conwell, Javon Hadley, Kanai Roos, and Sanada Fru? That should be your starting five.
Easy. But it's not but here's the thing. Should be the starting lineup, but it's not because like
Like
Pat
that's
I want to
literally the
see
Kelsey
that.
lineup that ends almost every game.
I want to
Pat
see that
Kelsey
lineup, and then
refuses.
I want to see Isaac McNeely come in and run point, and Adrian Woolley play the two guard.
I like that.
I'd rather see
Absolutely.
what McNeely can do as a creator from the ball in his hands, because at this
Yeah.
point he's only a jump shooter. We saw him do things with the dribble handoff in Virginia he used to
That's
do
because
where
he can't dribble.
Well,
he
I,
can
He
I,
can't
dribble.
handle the ball.
He
Isaac,
can.
Isaac
No.
McNeely when
He
he was
is
at
average at
Virginia,
best to handle the ball.
when Isaac McNeely
No, you
was
got to
at
watch that Virginia
Virginia,
tape
he
again.
played point. He played point a lot of the time at Virginia. But the thing is, nobody looks comfortable in anything that they're doing. McNeely's not comfortable. Conwell looks completely has zero confidence. Michael looks comfortable, but he just looks like a freshman, a very talented freshman. But at times he looks like a freshman with
And
some
he's
of his
already starting
deficiencies.
to look like he thinks that if I don't get it going for us, we're not going to make it happen. And that's starting to
Yeah.
already kind of be an aspect of his game, which he's not wrong. You can't complain, because if we don't get him going, if we don't have him being a presence on the floor on every minute he's out there, we don't have a shot
I
in a
mean,
lot of these games. But at the
at
same
the end of
time,
the day, this all comes down to Pat Kelsey showing the fact that he's a mid-major coach at a Power Four program, and that's
I
what's
don't agree
happening.
with that.
So Haven did.
He's a
So are
mid-major
you
coach.
saying that Haven?
He's
Are you
coaching
saying that you
mid-majorly.
don't have faith in Coach
No, I
Kelsey
do
moving
not.
forward?
No, because it's obvious. The problems are obvious, and he can't fix them. The problems are obvious. Everybody knows the problem is he can't fix it
Roman, what do you say to
because
that?
when he looks at the numbers, we beat the piss out of bad teams. We can beat good teams. We can even beat above average teams. But against the elite teams on the schedule, we get an ass beat.
I
I
mean,
mean, it's
it's
not even
tough.
close.
I think when you
We
look at
get our ass beat.
every problem this team had, every problem Louisville had last season, every problem got addressed, every problem got fixed, everything got adjusted. I think when you look at some of the issues that they've had this year, they've attempted, right? They've tried to add things to the defense when they saw that the defense was doing absolutely nothing in basic man-to-man. You saw them throw out that the full court pressure. They started at least pressuring full court. They started throwing in that 1-3-1 full court zone a little bit. And then they tried the 1-3 1-3-1 in the matchup zone a bit.
I've been thinking
They
about
did.
last year and last year's defensive team. Was it coaching, or was the fact that Chucky was already a defensive minded guy that could lock his guy down, and that Pat Kelsey's kind of luck into a guy that played hell of a defense
Well,
that made the rest of the defense
No,
look good? It's like
Terrence
it's
Edwards
like,
I was going to
turned
say
into that.
it was
Javon
Chucky
Hadley
and
turned into
Pratt
that as well.
and Javon. Those three guys right there are all excellent individual defenders. And that's what made Louisville's defense so good last year.
They
Is
could
that those
defend
three
in the
guys
man.
were locked down defenders. Like Chucky could pick up 94 feet, and then the other two guys were excellent in half court defensively. And I think that's really what it was. It was about the individual talents of those three guys. It wasn't necessarily like Louisville's defensive scheme was just,
Michael Brown Jr.,
magic.
below average defender. Ryan
Like I
Conwell,
said,
below average defender. Isaac
Dick
McNeely, way
Kelsey,
below average defender.
like
Sananda
I said,
Fru took him 3 months to learn how to defend at the college level, right?
which goes back to my coaching
That's
standpoint.
4 below average defenders.
Yeah.
But that goes back to my coaching standpoint, right? That goes back to my coaching standpoint. Because if you look at the guys in the season, they've marginally gotten better at defense. Marginally
Bad
gotten better.
defenders. I'm gonna take. I say they need to
Coach
take
them
the blame
up.
for the.
You're
No,
enough to coach them up.
you
You're the
recruited
coach.
bad defenders. You recruited
Well,
bad defenders. You have to understand that. We never expected Ali Khalifa to be a good defender. That was now it's on you to limit his fucking minutes and make sure he's in the game at times where he can't cost you with his defensive ability.
well, I
And in
think that
games where his offensive skill set is not outweighing his defensive ability. They don't do that. They don't get into that at all. Isaac McNeely is being get
And
torched.
that's what goes back to coaching.
I mean, it's recruiting too, though. It's
well,
recruiting.
I think that one of the things that Louisville has not, another thing that they've not necessarily done a good job of is helping their guys, like trying to have Isaac McNeely get out there and pressure the ball 35 feet away from the basket doesn't make any sense to me, because all you're doing is putting him on an island to get blown by. So why not back off and play kind of 3-point line and in? Jay Williams actually talked about the fact that Louisville, in some of their defensive sets, they're coming out and pressuring so far away, you're just allowing natural creases to where you just basically give the other team running lanes to go downhill and get to the basket. Like that's another thing where, once again, the coaches are coaching to their philosophy and not coaching to what the strengths are of your team. Like having Ali Khalifa out there trying to do these high hedges 40 feet from the basket and trying to recover, all you're doing is making humongous holes that you could drive a semi truck through to get to the lane when Ali Khalifa's out in no man's
College bigs should not be hedging. You've got to be a certain level of size and athleticism to even make it consistently a threat, consistently deter the ball handler from lofting that pass in or bending that corner, right? None of our bigs are consistently making guards do that. So
not only
stop
that,
doing it. Stop telling them to hedge.
how many times does Sananda Fru have a moving screen in the game? I think they just stopped calling Sananda Fru's moving screens because he does it so much. The dude
I
is
mean,
constant. He does for a big guy, he does not set a good solid screen.
Because of that thick ass, Haven.
No, it goes back to coaching. I don't think this coaching staff can coach. And I think I'm being dead ass serious. It's like none of our bigs have improved at all. At all.
I don't
during the
know how
season.
I can't really talk about how much the big men improved, because I just feel like none of those
They don't
guys
get a
are being
chance.
they're not put in the right positions. Like Sananda Fru spending the whole game at the 3-point line is stupid.
It goes back to coach, and that goes back to
That's
coaching.
stupid. Like I can't say, like people ask, do they work on post moves? Do they work on the block? Do they do the mic and drill? Do they work on their left hand, right hand hook shots? I'm like, I have no idea, because they never play like that. So
And,
I remember
that's
earlier in the year that Louisville threw the ball down to Fru a couple of times, and he made some nice post moves and scored a couple of times in some of those games in December. We haven't seen that at all. We haven't seen him post up and get the ball. The only person we ever throw the ball to on the post is Javon Hadley.
which goes back to coaching, mid-major coaching. I did not, you know what, Jay said this early in the season. And I was like, no, Pat Kelsey's, he's a hell of a coach. Give him time. He'll figure it out. Blah, 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 blah. I saw him last year. He made all the adjustments last year when guys got hurt. And he pulled together a great season. Give him time. What I've seen this season is a dude who is egotistical, narcissistic, refuses to make any changes, I know his offense. His offense is scoring a lot of points. He likes that offense efficiency. They running his schemes, but and his scheme works against about 90% of teams we play against. It's just that when we play the elite teams, we get our asses beat because his scheme doesn't hold up.
It
And
is
he
weird that Coach Kelsey has been very kind of defiant and very kind of dismissive this year. Like, what? I don't know what that's been about. Like, I don't understand the defensiveness and just because I remember Matt McGavick specifically asking about coach, maybe making some adjustments to the starting lineup to get off start. And he's like, yeah, that's a great suggestion. I'm not going to do it, but it's a great suggestion. Like, it's been a lot of that this year. You remember what he
it's
said to
like
Brooks Holton, when Brooks goes out there to California after the loss to Stanford, he kind of got smart with him. Like, I don't know what's been up with Kelsey with that this year. Like,
I,
do y'all
you know,
think it's just
He's
defensiveness
mad
over?
that he recruited the bad players. He's mad that he thought he had the best backcourt in the country, and he's relying on a backcourt that's not good enough to get it done for him. That's what he's mad at. He knows that he got it wrong this
honestly,
season.
I think he has talent. I still think there's enough talent on this roster to be an elite 18.
Yeah.
I think the talent on his
Yeah,
roster to be an elite 18 is there. Pat Kelsey does not know how to
Offensively.
use it. Kelsey does not know how
Offensively
to use
only,
it.
though. There's
Huh?
enough offensive talent to score
I think
enough points against teams that are going to
I
be
you
in
know
that
what?
realm. But
I even think with a good defensive coach, I think with a good defensive coach, I think they can get enough defense to literally easily be an elite 18.
I had
The
a I had a
problem is Kelsey can't do it. He
I
just
had a next door neighbor, and don't tell nobody. This is just me and you. Nobody else is listening. It's not like this is going to our millions of subscribers and listeners around the world. But I had my next door neighbor across the street said that if Rick Pitino had this exact same roster, Louisville would only have one loss this year.
it'd be the Kentucky game somehow.
yes, no, actually he would have three losses. There'll be Kentucky and Duke twice.
Yeah. But hey, don't forget Rick gave Krzyzewski his worst loss at home ever.
I don't think that's true. I think that
I'm like
Rick's too hard headed. Rick's too hard headed. They would
I
have had to have lose twice before he realized he couldn't play McNeely defensively and couldn't play Khalifa defensively, and then he would have learned.
Cleveland wouldn't play at all.
yeah,
Cleveland wouldn't see the court
Khalifa's
with Rick
body
Pitino
fat
here.
percentage.
Yeah.
Khalifa's body fat percentage, it would have been all Kason Pryor and Sananda Fru at the five, guaranteed. But no, but I mean, and I say all that to say that there's definitely a lot of people that have been discouraged and kind of just, you know, that the coaching staff is losing a lot of faith in a lot of people right now. So, like, the
I'm
biggest
not
thing that I
losing
want.
faith. I
So
can't lose faith in
that
a
that was going to
staff that
be
I
what I wanted
know
to say.
was
Like,
learning. They're still learning, mate. Because Haven, you're right to a degree. I I can't sit here and say he has this major conference experience. That's year two. He doesn't. He was a mid-major coach previous. He's only going off what he knows. He's only going off what he's gotten to see with his hands and gotten to have right and wrong in front of him. And when I look at what he did in year one, when I look at what he did at the beginning of this season, when I look at what he did without Michael Brown, even outside of those couple of losses, he still has found ways to get the best out of majority of this team offensively. Getting Ali Khalifa to step it up here with the shooting when ACC play started. Finally getting Sananda Fru to kind of buy into where he's supposed to be position-wise offensively, knowing it, on the screens, on the rolls. We're not passing him the ball much, but he's finally being in the right spot at the right time. Zugris has done enough in practice to get himself minutes, right? Kason Pryor is the only player you can point to that said it kind of went like this. And Adrian Woolley, once Michael came back, Adrian Woolley upped his game more than anybody. He's the only person I feel like took it to a whole other level when Michael was out. And he got put out of position again when Michael comes back, and now he doesn't know how to play in the system anymore. I think that when he's still learning how to use these guys in this system, he's still learning how to make his system work at this level against these kinds of teams, and it's going to take time. I get it. You don't have much time at a school like this. I get it. But still, if you can recruit a roster like this that has shown it can put points up on the board against ACC level opponents this way, it's only a matter of time before he starts eventually getting the most out of these guys like he did last year. Now, the hard-headedness, both with his opinions on how things are shaping up and what he's actually doing on the floor, we those tweaks have only been minor. Now, I'm not talking about the press conferences. I don't know why the rotation stuff waited till the end of January to finally start seeing the double big lineup a little bit more. I don't know why I mean, you guys are big into analytics. You're big into the numbers. Pull up the fucking analytics of what the defensive rating is when the double big lineups out on the floor. Put those numbers up on the whiteboard. Let's read those as a team together. Let's read out loud the best statistical lineup that we have, because I guarantee you it's not the starting five, right? In terms of just the
Yeah.
offensive rating to
No, I
defensive
mean,
rating and the
absolutely.
discrepancy. So it's only a matter of getting all those little tweaks right and him getting the perfect roster on top of those little tweaks on how he wants to go about his philosophy. This year was a miss. It was a
So
miss.
all right.
It sucks because it was a miss with a 5-star lottery pick on that roster.
So Roman, I agree with you in terms of Louisville's ceiling is greatly raised because you do have a kid in Michael who can just have a special night, and I really do believe that even though Ryan Conwell, who for whatever reason, man, the Ryan Conwell of the first month of the season and the Ryan Conwell now looks like two completely different players. But Ryan Conwell for a while there was rated as the number one rated transfer portal guy. Now, that Louisville doesn't have a guy listed rated in the top 10 of the top transfer portal guys this year. Um, Louisville has a shot, but I want to know for both of you guys. We're down to the last three games of the regular season plus ACC tournament and NCAA tournament. What do you all want to see from this team? Like, is there anything that Louisville can do in these last games at Clemson, home versus Syracuse, and uh, at Miami to end the year, as well as ACC tournament? Can they do anything to help improve your thoughts on them? Like, is there anything that you want to see? Like, give me what's the best case scenario for you guys as they come down the stretch.
After losing by 31 points to a conference opponent, there wasn't anything you could do other than win out to really make me change what I believe the narrative was for this team. Now, if you add the ACC tournament in there,
Yeah,
I don't care who it is in the final game. If you find a way to win the ACC tournament, meaning you end your regular season and you amplified your play, because there's a certain level of defense you have to play in about pretty much that semifinal game if you want to win that, and definitely in that championship game if you want to win that. You
yeah,
would have had to get to that level to win those games. And if you did that, now I'm feeling like I'm not hoping you're going to win a first round game. I'm expecting you to win a first round game, and I'm expecting you to be a team that is playing a better brand of basketball than who you should see in that second round game there. With
yeah.
that kind of all depends on what you do in these next three games, though, and in that conference tournament, which sucks, right? You got to beat
I
Clemson
mean, 'cause
and
they
Miami,
got two
really.
quad 1A games. I mean, Louisville has not won a quad 1A game yet this year. So the fact that they could still put two quad 1A wins on their resume, that has to count for something, right?
If you don't, definitely. But the issue is, if you don't get both of those, you need at least two of one of those two games and the semifinal, meaning you probably had to win to get to that semifinal as well. If to avoid dropping to like below a 6, right? Because
Yeah,
if you get below a 6, now I have to shift my expectation on winning the first round tournament game because of the type of opponent you're going to be seeing,
yeah,
because we're matchup based, because of all of our gadget players, because we don't have players that you can go out there and run multiple different ways and do different things with.
yeah,
You do,
yeah.
but you don't do it. That's what I should say. You do, but you don't seem
But
to
you
get
just
that
don't do it. Yeah,
out of these guys, which I don't know. Like, and that's what's weird about. That's what I wanted to ask you. And I turned into a sports extremist. I mentioned this on the radio today. Like, when something about my team's going wrong, and it's in a way that is like deep to the personnel of the team. It's not just why are we doing this one thing when we go up against this type of guard on defense, right? Getting or like last year, every athletic big, they were going to have 15 and 10 against us. We knew it. That's a defensive thing, right? I know James Scott's kind of small, but why are we also not playing team defense against teams we know that have a big they can go to right there? Where do the extremes changes start coming? Like, that's where I question the coaching staff, Haven, is
yeah,
how are you not seeing the intensity of the issues to make major changes? Because you guys know basketball, you two obviously, but they know ball. They watch college basketball. You coached at Wake Forest. You've been around Xavier. You did this. You made a tournament with Charleston. college hoops. That means it's like, to a degree, what you're doing. We all know the definition of insanity, right?
Well, Roman, you remember what remember the conversation that we had in the preseason when we talked about the fact that wow, Louisville's got these three guards in the portal. They got Adrian Woolley, they got Isaac McNeely, they got Ryan Conwell. And what did I tell you? And Michael Brown coming in as a freshman. What did I tell you? I said two of them dudes is going to be on the bench, or two of those guys is going to be on the bench. I thought it was going to be Conwell and Michael with Hadley at the 3, Pryor at the 4, and Frew at the 5. The same analysis that I've had since the preseason is still the same analysis that I have now about the personnel, the thoughts of what could change and what can help, and the fact that these coaches have not done any of that or seen any of that. Even again, the fact that literally Coach Kelsey has rolled out with the exact same starting lineup the whole season and not really changed anything baffles me.
This would make sense if you were like Dan Hurley coming off of a championship. That then I'm like, I get it. They're coasting maybe. They know that they got to just make the right tweaks at the right time of the season. They know that they can kind of just feel it out. What they think is going to work is eventually going to work. This is like, you were expected to be the 2 seed. If we would have made you come on the Breakdown 502 show right here, Pat Kelsey, and say, if you genuinely gun to your head, had to choose, there was no way we finish lower than this and what you genuinely believe next season, would you have said like anything lower than a 3 or a 4 seed? Absolutely not. And we're now a 7 seed, and we're doing the same things. We're still doing the same things.
Baffles me.
I think that the time without Michael doesn't exist to them. Like, game 1 was game 1 back for Michael, and in terms of how they really started generating and going about making changes and what they want to do to this team, because it's like they're late to the show. They're late to the party. They still haven't fully caught on yet that we're not playing big enough, and that the guys that are playing the majority of the minutes, when they get smacked in the face, they don't play hard enough. And we finally, I guess, get to say that we saw that against UNC for the first time in a year and a half against a good opponent, not going down after you get smacked. But it's just the lack of basic adjustments with how you go about do everything you want to do to see what these players do in the lineup now. What happens when we're winning the rebounding battle? What happens when we can actually have more offensive rebounds, which is something you reiterated before you ever coached a game here? You want to make that a part of what you do here. Fast offense, a lot of shots, offensive rebounds. 3 guys can't be the ones doing a lot of shots, and you can't have only 2 guys out there who are capable of grabbing a board at all times. It just doesn't work.
I agree, but I have to jump off the line here. So I got some food in the oven. I'm going to say this. What I expect from the rest of the season is Louisville's going to get their second Q1A win in Pat Kelsey's career. Because didn't you say he's like 1-11?
1-11 in
since
Q1A
he's been here.
Q1A games, yes, 1-11.
Clemson,
most likely.
Clemson last year was in the tournament.
That's his only. That's his only quad 1A win. Is Clemson in the tournament last year?
And I think we get Clemson
ACC
again this year.
In the ACC tournament, excuse me. Yeah.
I think we get Clemson this year, and to me, he's going to keep the fan base happy, no matter what happens. ACC tournament, he's going to have to win at least one tournament game. He's going to have to win one ACC tournament.
I don't even know if that'll even keep him happy. That'll just keep him watching the game.
That'll keep him satisfied.
Yeah, it'll keep him satisfied. It'll keep him
satisfied. But he's have to win at least one tournament game, and this off season is going to be big. And this is going to prove what type of coach he really is this offseason. And I'm not talking about the transfer portal. I'm talking about his coaching staff. He's going to have to make some changes, I believe, on that coaching staff. He needs some coaches, because the one coach he had with powerful experience was his defensive coach, who's now the GM of the team.
And now we can't play D.
No, he's going to remember Bobby Petrino when he was there, his first year here. Our defense was okay, but Ben Roethlisberger, the Motor City Bowl, lit us up
like a Christmas tree.
And Gil Hammer, his defensive coordinator, was immediately fired after the game. and we brought in Mike Cassie from Illinois. The defense got better. This defense didn't get to where Bobby wanted it, so then he had a co-defensive coordinator, Wolfhausen, who was a defensive line coach, and then our defense got to be where it was.
That's what's so tough though about the NIL era and the transfer portal, because I agree with everything you just said.
He's
One
gonna have to
game,
make that change.
one game's the expectation. 2 games, you kind of can get us back into happy hearts about the next season, right? Get the roster to betterly suited roster for what you want to do, at least outside of the guards. Get guards who can play the exact positions that you need them to play even better, maybe than a McNeely and a Woolley. Even though I think Woolley staying and getting moved up into a different role would be ideal for him.
You know
Um,
what? I don't
I
think
the issue with that,
even
Haven, is what happens if you go and get the best shot blocker out of the portal and you go get some hidden Sakai Ziegler level defender and you keep the coaching staff and then you're back to being a top ACC defensive team again next season.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
It
it's
can be a
not
whole new
necessarily
roster,
about
and
the
then we
coordinator.
think it was just the guys. We think it was just the players. If you keep these guys and get new players, and those players can defend, so it's like, yeah, I want to see the staff turnover. One, because I'm bringing somebody who's coached longer than everybody, bringing somebody who literally knows more than everybody. For one, you know,
Yeah,
maybe
well
coordinate.
but here's the thing. Even if you get a great defensive player in here, a true rim protector, he's still gonna be the 3 point line because that's the system Pat Kelsey runs. So
Yeah,
it won't matter how good he is
he's never
because
been
he's
a
gonna be
defensive coach. He's never been a defensive coach. We
no,
know that.
and that's what I'm
So you
saying.
got to go get a defensive
You
mind
got to
to
get a
be
defensive coach and
alongside
get one
you.
defensive player, but you have to let that defensive player play defense. I'm not sure Kelsey can do that.
I mean, I agree. And Haven, I know you got to go get your stuff in out of the oven. Thank you so much, brother. We will finish it up, and you have a good one. I appreciate you joining us tonight.
The man, the myth, the legend,
The
Catch
architect.
y'all later.
All right, Have.
the architect himself, Haven
So,
Harrington.
so Roman. So let me, because I think that for me, um, the question about Kelsey's defense, and Haven brings up bringing in the defensive coordinator. To me, Kelsey put this team together because you know how he continued to talk about the bubblegum card, the bubblegum card. You are what the back of your gum card says you are. And I think he got so in love with looking at the numbers and the statistics and the efficiency ratings of these guys that he didn't really take enough into account of the athletic component of it, and like it's like, yeah, you have all these shooting percentages and shooting numbers, but these guys didn't do this in a vacuum. They were surrounded by certain types of guys and certain types of players that help create the opportunities to shoot these percentages, and to be able to go out there and defensively compete. Ryan Conwell was, at Xavier, a decent Xavier team, not a great Xavier team. um, Isaac McNeely was at a decent, not a great Virginia team. Are these guys going to be able to uh, replicate that if they're having to create their own? Because they didn't have to necessarily create all on their own at these other stops. Like that's kind of the balance of it. Is A, are these bubblegum card numbers going to stand up in your system, and B, do they have the athleticism to be able to compete defensively and the athleticism to be able to create their own opportunities in that? And I think that's where it is. I think the lack of athleticism is the biggest issue on both ends. I think the lack of athleticism is hurting these guys from being able to perform offensively the way they have at other stops, and I think definitely the lack of athleticism is hurting the team's overall defensive ability. I think that
Yeah.
that's the biggest
I
thing
don't
that
I
Coach
don't want any
Kelsey.
more Isaac McNeely's. Go get me an average shooter. Go get me a Pierre Jr. from SMU. Go get me two of
Yeah,
those in the backcourt before I
yeah.
want before another Conwell
I
and
mean, Pierre
McNeely.
came from New Orleans. You think that Louisville couldn't have had Pierre? Jerome Pierre would have been walked to Louisville. He would have walked to Louisville. He didn't get major NIL. So I mean, that those are the biggest things. Like for me, the biggest thing, and I know we're coming up against the end of the show. The biggest things I want to see is this. I am disappointed, Coach Kelsey. But I said it before. This Louisville team's die has been cast, but that doesn't mean things can't change. If they come up against a certain
I'm with you.
type of team, it's going to be tough. But in the NCAA tournament, anything can happen. Upsets happen all the time. You do have a Michael Jr. who can go off for 45 or 50 points in a game. You have a Ryan McNeely who can, or excuse me, a Ryan Conwell who can go off for 30 points in the game. You have Isaac McNeely who can hit 5, 6, 7 threes in the game. So Louisville has a shot in those games. I think that when you look at some of the calls that they've gotten in some of these road games, like at Duke, like at UNC, they've had a lot of tough calls go against them. At Tennessee and at Arkansas, they had some tough calls go against them. In all of
Stanford.
those games, Stanford as well. In all of those games, except for Duke, they still had an opportunity to win. So that's why I'm not saying, oh, this team's going to lose in the first round. Oh, they can't win. Oh, they can't go to Sweet 16. I think that a Sweet 16 is definitely on the table for this team. And I think it can be done, but I just want to see Louisville find a way to get both of these quad 1A wins. If they can't pull out these two games, game Saturday and the game next Saturday, Miami and Virginia or Clemson, we'll have a different conversation. But I think they'll
Yeah.
be fine. I think they'll get it done. Like, how do you feel about those last two games? You think they
I
can
mean,
get those?
I'm not expecting wins in all three by any means. I want them to
Okay.
get 1 or 2 of Miami or Clemson. I
Okay.
think with all of the team's final games, I think Miami's win
Miami's
look.
going to be the tougher game. Miami's going to be the
I think
tougher
the
one.
win will be better. The hypothetical win will be better when the regular season's finished for the ACC.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Clemson drops another game to us hypothetically after we hypothetically beat them. I want to see us perform in the ACC tournament. That's a miniature. That's a version of what you're going to go see in March. That's the start of your March Madness starts in your conference tournament. Well, we all know the stat. No team ever has lost their first conference tournament game and won a national championship.
I
Right?
love the draw for Louisville right now in the ACC tournament. Like right now their draw would be playing California in the first
Yeah.
round,
And then
playing
Virginia.
Virginia in the
Yeah.
second round, and then I think one of either NC State or uh,
Miami or Duke.
yeah, yeah. Like I would take that. I would take that all day long. But
I
yeah,
would
they
too.
just you got to finish strong. You got to
I
finish
want
strong.
I want to see you get to that semi. I mean, if you're not on the double bye, I want to see you get to that semifinal game. I mean, I really want you to win that semifinal game. I want you to be the
Yeah,
team that gets back to the ACC championship 2 seasons in a row. I would really like to see you be that. I don't care if it's another loss to Duke because I know that Duke's kind of higher expectation than us right now. Their expectation is to win that game with any opponent in the ACC. Ours is circumstantial expectation for that game if we do get there. So, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna want us to beat Duke. I think third time's a charm. You get to say that about that game if that does happen. But for me, I
yeah,
want to have a good run in this ACC tournament. I want to go out there.
absolutely.
I think that we got screwed by the ACC's lack of the bottom end was really starting at the halfway mark, and it wasn't just the bottom of the ACC last year; it was all bad, and that
Yeah.
hurt us. That doesn't have to hurt us this year. You have the opportunity to make that not even a factor with these 2 games, and that's what I like. If you win these 3 games, you set yourself up for a lot of room for comfortability compared to if you don't. But more
Yeah.
importantly, go win games that are postseason games, right?
And I
In
just
the
want to
ACC
clarify
tournament.
one thing. Kentucky fans, quit trying to put Louisville in the boat with you. U of L and Kentucky are not the same this year. Kentucky is 3-5 in quad one games. They're 5-2 in quad two games. They have 2 quad two losses, only 3 quad one wins. Louisville has 7 quad one victories. They have no losses in quads 2, 3, or 4. Louisville and Kentucky are not the same. Kentucky is a
Kentucky's
team
ass.
is on the bubble and will be lucky. And I don't think that they've guaranteed themselves a tournament spot by beating weak ass South Carolina. So stop comparing Louisville and Kentucky. We're not in the same boat. Just
No.
stop it.
Kentucky's ass. We're weak sometimes. Big
Yes.
difference.
Yes, yes, yes. There we go. When we play the athletic teams, we except we beat Kentucky, which is an athletic team, which is very odd. But I will take it. They got it together the one time they needed to, Rome. But
Yep.
Rome, I appreciate you. Just programming note, letting everybody know we will not have Wake Up 502 coming this Saturday morning. That's why I wanted to make sure to get a breakdown 502 and get everybody's thoughts. So thanks so much to Haven Harrington
We'll have
for that.
Raashaan. We'll have Raashaan joining us. Run in with Roman Friday, 2:00.
That's right.
Tune
I'll be
in.
on.
We'll get
I'll be on run in. So I'm excited about that. Thank you, Roman, for the invite. Let's go, Cards. Let's get this together. Thanks so much for listening. This is Raashaan Myers, Roman Kelly, and Haven Harrington. And without struggle,